From the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, where you can get uncensored, unfiltered truth and insights, you know, the kind of things big tech doesn't want you to read. Let's take another look back at another big week that was. And by the way, you can have truth and insight delivered to your email inbox twice a day, absolutely free, just by signing up for the Huckabee newsletter. And subscribe to my new podcast, The People's Podcast, at quakemedia.com/Mike. Well, this week, Axios published an explosive report, the culmination of a year-long investigation. You might call it actual reporting, which is as rare as a proper ribeye these days. But the report details an extensive spying operation run by the Chinese Communist Party dating back to at least 2011. During that time, they established and exploited extensive ties with politicians and their staffers throughout the U.S. at the local and national level. One such target was California Congressman Eric Swalwell. The spy who may have compromised the congressman and at least two Midwestern mayors that we know of is named Fang Fang, or Christine Fang, as she called herself in the U.S. According to Axios, Fang gained proximity to power through campaign fundraising, extensive networking, personal charisma, and romantic or sexual relationships. A current U.S. intelligence official said that there were really some serious and sensitive people caught up in this. I presume that's a reference, at least in part, to Swalwell, who is now a member of the House Intelligence Committee. But this all began when Swalwell was just a city councilman in California, and the idea behind this intelligence operation was to cultivate relationships with up-and-coming politicians. As a political bundler for Swalwell, Fang directly helped Swalwell get elected to U.S. Congress. And once he was there, he decided to spend much of his time on television as one of the loudest voices accusing President Trump of being a Russian asset. There's a psychological term for this, and it's called projection. Fang Fang is now gone. She appears to have fled the country in 2015 once the FBI started an investigation. But there's no telling how many Chinese spies are still in this country. FBI Director Christopher Wray said over the summer the Bureau was opening Chinese counterintelligence investigations every 10 hours. But now that news is getting out about Swalwell's association with his Chinese honeypot, and considering his repeated lies about Trump and Russia, any bad press Swalwell gets, I just chalk up to karma. I'm not sure what the phrase, "what goes around comes around," translates to in Chinese. Maybe Swalwell can ask someone he knows. Well, moving on to the Twitterverse, a little hat tip here to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. And this goes for this one. Trolling Democrats with a photo in the Capitol Rotunda saying, "Here's a group photo of me with all the House Republicans who lost races this year." That rotunda, as you can see, is entirely empty. And John Levine, columnist at the New York Post, pointed out, quote, "I like how it's okay to write about Hunter Biden now," end quote. You may remember the New York Post was locked out of Twitter because it reported on the Hunter Biden laptop story in the weeks leading up to the election. That laptop, which has been in the possession of the FBI, contains emails that seem to have launched a federal investigation into Hunter Biden's shady business deals and alleged money laundering. Which brings us to a well-deserved shaming. NPR decided, when news of the Hunter Biden laptop story broke ahead of the election, that it wasn't newsworthy enough for national public radio. No. In a statement at the time, they wrote, and I'm not making this up, "We don't want to waste our time on stories that aren't really stories. And we don't want to waste listeners' and readers' time on stories that are just pure distractions." Well, NPR has decided it is news now when the Biden-Harris, or maybe it's the Harris-Biden transition team, put out this statement on Wednesday. Quote, "President-elect Biden is deeply proud of his son, who has fought through difficult challenges, including the vicious personal attacks of recent months, only to emerge stronger," end quote. Stronger, and probably a lot wealthier from some of these crooked business deals. Next up, how about some shame on YouTube? That's right, the website you're probably watching this video on right this very minute. Well, YouTube has decided to remove any videos that question Joe Biden's election victory, even as legal challenges continue in the courts. In a blog post this week, YouTube says, "We will start removing any piece of content uploaded today or any time after that misleads people by alleging that widespread fraud or errors changed the outcome of the 2020 U.S. presidential election. For example, we will remove videos claiming that a presidential candidate, wonder who they mean, won the election due to widespread software glitches or counting errors. We will begin enforcing this policy today, and we will ramp up in the weeks to come." But first, a shout out to Democrat Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, who tweeted this week, quote, "Today I introduced the Break Up Big Tech Act with Congressman Paul Gosar to remove Section 230 immunity for tech companies who act like publishers, censoring and manipulating users, treating us and our attention like products to make their billions." A sensible Democrat reaching across the aisle? Imagine that. The Congresswoman announced earlier this year that she won't be seeking re-election. Frankly, she'll really be missed. And another shout out to another member of Congress. Wait for it, Alexandria OcasioCortez. That's right. You see, she was named Employee of the Month by Goya, the food company, Goya. AOC called for a boycott of the company in July when Goya's CEO praised President Trump at a White House event over the summer. The CEO said, and I quote, "When she boycotted us, our sales actually increased 1,000%, end quote. So congratulations to the Congresswoman who says a socialist can't be good for business. And finally, a word of encouragement as we approach the end of the year from a pretty smart guy, Albert Einstein. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Until next time, these have been the facts of the matter. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.